We're going to take a quick look at the overview of this project, just kind of like what the process is and what you can expect from this course. So the course is kind of split up into two parts. We have the Koba section where we'll be creating the actual character, and then we have the M4A1 rifle where it's kind of like a little bit of like a separate thing where we're just creating just the rifle. And then towards the end of the course, we'll bring it all together for the final render. So to start with Koba, we're going to do some research and reference, just sort of researching our character, getting some reference material so that we can accurately create this character. Then we're going to jump into ZBrush, doing some sculpting, just building up a basic foundation for our character. And then once our character is at a decent level, we're going to take it into Blender and do some retopology. So we're going to retopologize it with clean studio quality topology so that it's very clean, and then we can go into the next stage, which is even more ZBrush sculpting. So we'll continue to sculpt up the forms with the new topology that we just created and just continue to refine the character and make it better and better. Then we're going to do some UVs on the character, just UV unwrap our character and prepare it for texturing. And then we'll jump into Substance Painter and do some texturing, making the base color, roughness maps, and subsurface scattering maps. And then in the look dev stage, we are going to be hooking up all the textures in Blender and setting up the shader in the Cycles render engine, while also making any tweaks that we need to the shader and textures. And then we're going to go into the hair groom in Blender. So we're going to create the fur for our character. And that's going to be really fun because fur can be intimidating for a lot of people. And Blender's new hair system is really just super simple to learn and very easy to get a good result. So after the hair, we're going to go back into ZBrush and make some poses for our character. And then we're going to go back into Blender and set up those poses into shape keys so we can switch between the poses for different rendering. And then we're going to do the final renders in Blender. And finally, we'll take all that into Photoshop and we'll do some post-processing on those photos just to really add like the icing on the cake onto those renders so that we can get the best result possible. So that is the Koba section. For the M4A1 rifle, it's pretty simple. We're just going to be modeling the rifle in Blender, just using hard surface modeling techniques. We're going to UV unwrap it pretty simply. The UVs for hard surface objects are pretty simple. They're not as difficult as organic things like characters, but there just is a lot of pieces to doing the UVs. So we'll do the UVs and then we'll take that into Substance Painter as well, and we'll texture out that, and then we'll set up the shader in Blender to make sure that the gun looks realistic. And then that is when we'll do like the posing and then the rendering in Blender and then the post work. And one thing to keep in mind is that it's never a linear process like this. Like, there will probably be a lot of back and forth between softwares, especially during like the shading and texturing stages. But this is just like a basic overview of the course and pretty much what you can expect to learn.